College programs must be competitive in name, image, and likeness. It impacts current athletes and affects the decision of recruits. And Gator fans can put Florida at the forefront of name, image, and likeness. The Gator Collective is leading the charge, uniting fans and student athletes like never before. Commit for exclusive content, interactions, and events which bring you closer than ever to your favorite players. In this talent acquisition business, name, image, and likeness will play a huge role in Florida returning to the elite status of college football. It can start here. Join the Gator Collective. Link is in the description.
Want more Gators Breakdown? Join Gators Breakdown Plus. Starting at $3 a month. Get access to unique episodes, plus a blog, chat room, giveaways, shout-outs, and more. Gators Breakdown Plus is furthering the interaction with fans and listeners like you. Head to gatorsbreakdown.supportingcast.fm to join Gators Breakdown Plus today. Gators Breakdown. Because there's never a dull moment in Gator Nation.
The Gators Breakdown podcast is ready to go. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on Twitter at GatorDave_SEC. Here we go. Another special episode, another player interview, Gators safety, Donovan McMillon joining us right here on Gators Breakdown, joining Will Miles and me. Will, man, we get another player interview. Lorenzo Lingard on the last one, and now safety Donovan McMillon.
Yeah, man, this is fun, right? I mean, this is an opportunity that we didn't necessarily get until NIL came around, and so there's obviously a lot of gnashing of teeth in terms of the money that's flying around and the transfer portal and all that sort of stuff. But look, I mean, we get benefits from it too, and fans get benefits from it too, right? And part of that is the access that fans are getting to the players through the collectives and those sorts of things as well. So, look, I think college football is changing. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, and certainly these sorts of interviews are one of the things that's good that's coming out of it.
For sure. It's a big thanks to the Gator Collective for setting up this interview with Donovan McMillon that we'll get into in just a second. But Will, you got a big announcement coming up for you guys at Read and Reaction.
Yeah, man, Nick Newton and I, we're really excited. So we're releasing a 2022 college football preview, but it's Florida Gator specific. So it's going to be over 100 pages. It's a digital magazine, so you'll be able to download it as a PDF. But it's going to be more than 100 pages specific to Florida, all sorts of stuff, looking into recruiting, looking into NIL, looking into, plays that Napier's going to call, plays that Toney's going to call, and even some expert cameos there from you, Dave, and also Thomas Goldcamp and a couple other people as well. So, we're really excited about it. If you're interested, we're going to be releasing it right before Memorial Day. So if you go to readandreaction.com/mag, it's readandreaction/MAG, you can sign up there. And what that'll do is give me your email, and then when it releases, we'll send you an email that tells you it's available and give you a 20% off discount for the magazine. So we're excited about it. We've put a lot of time and effort into putting this together, making it look nice, and hopefully everybody enjoys it. But during the off season, you sort of, the magazine season comes and everybody opens them up and you get excited, you buy it on the shelf, and then there's like 2 pages on Florida.
Everybody knows how excited I get, Will, about this.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, those things are fun, right? But there's 2 pages on Florida. And one of the things when I was a kid that I'd buy those magazines during the summer. I'd take them to my grandparents' house and I'd be sitting there reading them and I'd be done with it in 5 minutes. Well, you're not going to be done with this in 5 minutes. Like, this is a labor of love that Nick and I have put together. So again, if you go over to readandreaction.com/MAG, you can sign up there. We'll send you a discount coupon once it's available, and it'll be available before Memorial Day weekend. So, you'll either be able to read it on that holiday or over the summer as things go on. And, we'll be updating it as we go along too. So, the roster's going to change and things like that too. So, if you buy it in June, it won't be something where in probably about a monthly basis we'll update it. But, if you buy it in June or July, it's not going to be something where, we're talking about some guy who's already transferred off the team because in May he was still here, so that sort of stuff we will be able to update and keep everybody up to date on the roster and that sort of stuff as well. So, hey, there's nothing better than getting prepared for the season, knowing the team inside and out, that sort of stuff. And hopefully other people agree. And, we appreciate everybody's support and taking a look at it, checking it out, and you letting me talk about it here and also participating, because it's cool to get expert opinions from folks like Gator Dave when you're putting a magazine like this together.
Yeah, it was good stuff there. Will asked some really good questions and some really good topics there to add to that preseason magazine. So, hey, Will, this means I got to add one more to the rotation when we do our preseason magazine coverage. So, those episodes will be coming up in a few weeks. So, exciting time there, and I'm glad we get one that's Gator specific, especially from guys like you, you and Nick there. So, it should be some good stuff there to really dive deeper into the Gators.
Yeah, man, we're excited. There's some sections that look at like the first year of Steve Spurrier and the first year of Urban Meyer to sort of say, hey, what should we expect from Billy Napier? Like we've really tried to cover the whole gamut of the different things that you might be curious about. So if you're somebody who likes film, there's going to be stuff in there that delves into schematics and things like that. If you're somebody who likes recruiting, there's going to be stuff in there that talks about, how the SEC's been won, what that means for Florida this year, what that means for Billy Napier. And if you're interested in sort of, the roster, who we think are going to be, who have the potential to be all SEC players, who can be surprises, the predictions for the SEC overall, and then how Florida fits into that picture. We're going to have all that sort of stuff tied up into one big bow. So hopefully everybody will enjoy it.
All right, there we go. So what is it, Will? WhedonReaction.com/mag.
/mag, M-A-G.
There we go. All right, there we go. Good stuff there from Will and Nick. So, all right, without further ado, big feature for this episode, Will Miles and I sit down with Gator safety Donovan McMillon. Donovan, man, I got to we talked about this pre-show just a little bit, but I had to bring you on. Barry Jenkins, a good follower of mine on Twitter for a little while. I'm going to throw it up right here too. There's the tweet from the spring game. He goes, "Love it, Donovan McMillon, nephew of my heart, Joy McMillon." And so my nephew essentially is snagging an interception right now in the Florida spring game. Gator Dave, get my guy on the show. Well, Barry, we got Donovan McMillon on the show. There's the highlight of the interception, the little dance in the end zone right there. So Donovan, man, thank you so much for joining us right here on Gators Breakdown.
You're very welcome. I'm super excited to talk football.
So let's go back to that highlight, that tweet, that spring game right there. How did it feel to make a big play right there in the spring game, making that interception in the end zone?
It was definitely surreal, like definitely breathtaking. Like people all asked about, the whole dance. Like that was the only thing that people really talked about was the dance. And like, I really once that happened, I totally just blacked out. Like it was like one of my craziest moments of my life. So definitely super fun and crazy, dramatic experience. But I just want to make it on the big stage this upcoming year. So.
Man, so does that mean that you get to talk trash to Jack Miller in the locker room now that you picked him off there in the end zone, or you sort of let him slide since the same team?
Yeah, Jack and I are boys, so we can spit a little bit, but he balled all spring, so back and forth, making plays, so it was all fun. So.
Donovan, you talking about balling all spring. Well, we had Lorenzo Lingard on the podcast last week, and we talked to him. We asked him players that stood out in spring. You're the name he brought up. He said, Donovan McMillon back there making plays. So what was the spring like for you? How did you grow as a player going from your first year to your second year at Florida and going through spring practice?
To describe it in one word, I would really think just confidence, to be honest with you. Confidence, going back through my reads and knowing where to be, where to say, obviously we have a whole new defense with Patrick Toney as being our new defense coordinator. So I really think just being confident and just trusting my abilities of knowing where to be and where to be at the given time, place, and just being able to control a defense from the backside. Because, everyone says, you got to be the QB of the defense. So that's really the main thing I thought I gained of spring ball number 2.
So what do you think the easiest thing for you has been to pick up when it comes to Patrick Toney's defense? And maybe what's the hardest? What's the thing you feel like doesn't come naturally? And then what's the thing that you just picked up right away and you said, hey, I get this, and this is a welcome change from what we were doing before?
Really, the only difficult part was we really have a new, but I think better way of some footwork that whenever it comes to man coverage or zone coverage, where we'll have a slam or squat step, depending on if it's inside or outside leverage mans. And then whenever we're banging the buzz from a 3 or playing flats from 2 or being the star or whatever, that's definitely changed. That was definitely something we had to pick up on. And once we got it, it was a lot easier. But the whole transition and being from different techniques, from switching it up. Obviously, anyone would think it was difficult. But whenever it comes to being the easiest thing, I really think Coach Toney is he's really a teacher when it comes to the game. So like this whole new defense, you would think it would be more complex, but the way he teaches it and the way he goes through it, he makes it easy for everyone to learn it and to pick it up. So really, like, we didn't have as much time going into spring because we got a new staff, but just showing in the spring game, like, we picked up on everything and we really understand it, so we can learn even more. So whenever it comes into this upcoming season, we should be good and gold and ready to go.
So you mentioned Patrick Toney a couple of times. It is a change from the last defense in the way of your position coach is your defensive coordinator. So how has that changed? Is there much of a change in that regard? Do you think about the defense different because of that?
I don't really see it much as a change, other than like we know that being coached by the guy who's going to be making the calls on Saturdays. That's really the only little change to it. But I think Coach Toney really shows that he can, like, obviously as a DC, he knows everything that's going on. So he's making us 2D, 3D, 4D kind of players. So we have to know, what our defense is doing, like what our individual position is doing. Then we got to know what the rest of the defense is doing. And then to becoming a 4D player is like knowing what the defense is doing, knowing everyone's roles, and then, being able to look at certain things on the offense and know what's coming, because the more film, the more things you know about the whole offense, the easier the game gets to play.
Hey, man, the secondary was actually not too bad last year, 18th in the country in yards per play allowed. The unit obviously does some things well. What do you think are the strengths of the secondary, and then what do you think needs to improve this year to maybe take that next step, both from a secondary perspective, but also as a defense as a whole?
So most last year, I was working in with the ones and twos, so like most game, like during the week and everything, I'd be there, taking the same reps as everyone else. But for the most part, I played 5 games defense, but most part I was on the sideline, being able to see my fellow teammates put out, and then being in the huddles and everything like that, I got to learn more about what they're doing. I really thought that, to play as a whole, they look good in, and just being able to communicate, I think we can just continue to work on everything, to be honest with you, because like you said, we're the 18th best defense in run last year. So I think we're going to strive to be number 1 this year. So we can work on everything whenever it comes to communication, confidence, tackling, everything. I really think if we really punch it out this summer and do what we're supposed to do, that a lot of people on Saturdays are going to be surprised of how our defense comes this year.
Donovan, you mentioned tackling right there, but and then also turnovers. You had a turnover in the spring game. We discussed that. How much of an emphasis was turnovers and tackling? Those were kind of issues the last couple of years for the Gator defense. Was there a different approach from Patrick Toney, from the defensive staff, in the emphasis on turnovers and tackling?
Well, the first thing I did notice about the whole tackling situation was that I don't think we had as much a problem with tackling last year. Was it as much as the repetition of tackling? We're going against guys in SEC that are guys that will be playing on Sundays in a few years, or literally this upcoming year. So I don't think we worked as much tackling as we should have done. So coming into not even spring ball, like once we hit the field in January and February for like just outfield workouts and just running everything, we worked tracking the hip and making sure we can make those sure tackles. And I really did think it showed when it came to spring. We'd work every single day, a 10, 15-minute tackling drill of just, and it really doesn't have to be like hard, everyone killing each other, anything like that. But as long as we just keep repeating the process of, having those open field tackles against guys who are jitterbugs, 4-3 kind of guys. And the fact that we did that, I really did think it improved during spring ball. And we got about 4 months before, the first game, and we keep doing that. I think our tackling will improve majorly from last year.
Well, before you jump in there, Donovan, I'm glad you mentioned that because I thought, physicality is part of it with tackling, but you mentioned watching the hips and stuff. So, I think part of the issue with tackling last year too was, as you kind of alluded to, maybe even taking the wrong angle, and it's not necessarily all physical. There's a lot of mental aspect of the tackling issues on defense as well.
Right. So I don't know if you guys know, like I was a wrestler in high school. So like tracking the hip and just and shooting through and like we never was told to tackle the man. We were supposed to tackle the man about 2-3 yards behind, or take down the man 2-3 yards behind. So I really think when it comes to football, we love as fans and everything the kill shots. The kill shots are the greatest things. But I think the breakdown, the sure tackle, and get to the next play is the more important part, because you make the sure tackle, those big hits will come. And I think if we continue to do that, then there's not going to be many offenses that can, open up against us and make those big plays that maybe could have happened more than we wanted to last year, if that makes sense.
So is that what you prefer doing? Do you like coming up and run support, or would you rather be back in coverage running with one of those guys running a 4-3 down the field? Like if you had your pick and it was a play that you knew what the offense was running, would you rather be coming up and run support or tracking somebody deep?
Yeah, but when it comes to the whole sure tackle thing, don't get me wrong. I like to be the most physical guy I could possibly be on the field. So obviously, I love to be put in the box, play, come in and make that tackle, make that hit I'm supposed to make. Obviously, I love coverage, but I love just getting to the ball and making a play. So yeah, probably the box.
Well, okay, you go to the box there, but there is a reputation for Florida in defensive backs and, DBU. And in Florida, for the last couple of years, hasn't been able to go claim that for the defensive performance out there the last couple of years. Was that a pull for you when you committed to Florida and coming to Florida, the reputation of defensive back play? And what's it going to take, for you guys to get back to that reputation of being one of the great defensive back units in college football?
First off, when it came to coming to the University of Florida, I just thought everything just matched up what it was supposed to do. Like, I was a quote unquote COVID recruit. So I didn't take an official visit here. I didn't take a real visit here. I came here with my family and got to look at outside the facility, look in the windows and look in the stadium, everything. Didn't get to talk to coaches. So me knowing what I didn't know before, going through, I knew the whole academic situation that I love the idea of. I know that Florida is one of those teams that competes every single year. That was one thing that just dragged me in, and just knowing the whole physicality of the defense. I know that guys do want to win, and I think if we put that together, then that will happen. But can you say the second part of your question?
Yeah, going back and you're getting back to that DBU reputation that Florida likes to share, or go out there with Ohio State and LSU and some of those other defenses out there in the country.
Oh yeah. So when it comes to DBU, first off, we had Kyer this year, so that we're still continuing to produce those big time first round guys that I know that these guys are going to produce on the next level. But when it comes down to that, I obviously think once we continue to get our confidence and communicate, and we have amazing talent on the field, amazing talent. And it showed last year. I don't think many guys got on top of us. I don't think, Alabama, Georgia, teams like that, they couldn't really get deep on us, whenever it came to that. So that was a part of the whole DBU situation. But when it comes to bringing it back, I just, like I said before, just doing what we're supposed to do. And I don't think you just got to jump for it, just slow and steady and, doing really what we're supposed to do, and just having confidence and making plays on Saturdays, make the plays that we're supposed to make. And then I think it will fall together what was supposed to happen. So, yeah.
Yeah, so you guys had 4 one-score losses last year. Sort of was what really turned the tide, right? I mean, those things go the other direction. Obviously, the whole season feels very, very different. Now we've gone through the transition from Dan Mullen to Billy Napier. What do you feel has changed, and do you feel like those changes, switching from Mullen to Napier and from Grantham to Toney, are going to prepare? did the 1-score losses last year, you think, prepare you for what you need to do this year? And how's the staff sort of helping turn that corner? Because a play or two could really change each of those games.
Yeah, I really do think the coaches, they're getting us ready for this whole situation we were a 6-7 team last year. So that obviously has the players. I know me as well, and as all my teammates, like we have a fire lit underneath our butt. Like right now we were frustrated about the certain games we lost last year. We knew that there were some turning points in the season. Like, we make certain plays we're supposed to make, and I think last year is a totally different year. But I think that just is in the back of our head at all times. That not that we got embarrassed last year, but we're definitely a team that should have beat most of those teams last year. And I think that in a combination of just all these coaches coming in with the right mindset, the positivity, and just getting people what they're supposed to do, I think that just all combining to getting us ready to have a really good season. Yeah.
Donovan, how tough was it last year with everything that was going on, and coaching change after getting some playing time on the field for the first time as a Gator, but you're going through that coaching change of the season at the same time?
When it comes to being tough, like you see my high school jersey back here. Like we were a real good team, and like just throughout the years, like when it comes to wrestling or football, I was just never a guy who like went down big. We had our games where like we always had tough games, but I was always looked at as a winner, and I never was ever in this like place where I've had a losing record or had a season like this. So, I think it's a big thing for everyone, because I do know like my teammates, they're all winners. Like they were the best players on the field. So like, I definitely think like that whole thing that happened last year should really, really get us excited for what's coming up this year. Just because like we aren't a 6-7 football team. We're a team that should be competing for championships. So yeah.
Well, so how's your day changed, right? I mean, the day in the life of a student athlete, what's that look like? But, what has it changed going from the previous staff to this staff? What's different and sort of what's the same? And, I think we all see what happens on Saturdays, right? But I hope we don't gloss over all the work you guys put in throughout the week and during the off season as well. So, can you give us sort of a feel for what it looks like for you on a day-to-day basis, and maybe what's changed from the previous staff to now this one that you think is going to sort of push the team forward?
I think the word that defines that is really business. Like not that it wasn't business last year. Like obviously we're focused and ready. Like, we lost to Alabama by 2 points. So like obviously we were ready for those games. But this year it definitely seems like we're coming in as like a business type mindset that like we have a lot to prove this year, And I think when it comes down to my normal day to day, it's like, the same thing. We're working out. We're doing meetings. Obviously school's the number one point of it. But when it comes down to these coaches and everything, I really do think they mean business, and they're getting us ready for a dogfight as a schedule. The schedule is nothing to play with, and these guys are getting us ready. So business for sure.
That sounds good. A business approach there. Donovan McMillon, safety for the Gators, joining us right here on Gators Breakdown. Donovan, let's continue the conversation. And you're on the field. You have a difficult first season, but you're on the field. What was the biggest lesson you learned as a freshman? Whether it be off the field, whether it be on the field, you can combine both there. What was the biggest lesson you learned?
Biggest lesson. Ooh, I gotta say. Biggest lesson. Biggest lesson. Let me think. So when it comes down to the biggest lesson I learned from last year, wow, you're almost stumping me right here. I gotta think. Really, like, I think there was a lot to learn from last year.
Yeah, for
there's
sure.
a lot to learn from. Let me think.
Because we hear all the time, with the players that go from high school to college, they say the speed of the game is, the biggest lesson that they learn. But would you go that basic with it, or is there something else that you'd probably point to on the field as far as the lesson?
So you help me out a little bit more. No, I think when it came to speed of the game, I was ready for that. Like 5A football and PA is nothing to play with. Like there's guys who are playing all around. I don't know if you know Derek Davis. He was a guy who graduated me. Like we played in the finals 2 years ago, and then whatever. And like he's at LSU right now. So like the speed is definitely ready. But like when it comes to lessons, that playbook and film study is nothing to play with. When it comes down to that, I watched a ton of film in high school, and I thought I was ready. But just the whole thing of me, like for example, this year I'm learning free safety, weak safety, and then coach is talking about even playing a little dime as well. So just learning one position is hard enough. You know, you're learning cover 3, cover 4, cover like everything. You're learning everything. And just every detail to it, you got to know the reads, the quarterback, especially you think being in the post, you're just sitting there, look at the quarterback's eyes. No, you got to have a transition where you got to look at the midpoint at the quarterback and look at his hand, where if he's giving off or not. You got to start by looking at, you know, what your keys are to the linemen and what they're doing. So like everything when it comes to the lessons I learned is that to succeed in football in the college and the NFL level, I think is just you got to know football. You got to. You got to breathe football. You got to eat. You got to do everything like that, as everyone says. Like if you're gonna want to succeed on this level, you gotta really love it, because to love it, you gotta. I'm watching college football now. I'm watching NFL football now on TV, and I can't go without pausing the thing and looking at what the offense is running and correlating that to what I'm doing, you know? So, like, when it comes down to that, I think you just got to – it's definitely a complex thing when it comes to offense and defense. You got to – that would be the biggest lesson I learned, is that, you know, college football is really like 90% strategy and then 10% just skill and playmaking.
Will, I'm glad he mentioned Patrick Toney and the keys and all that stuff. Donovan, we did this big Patrick Toney preview episode a couple of months ago, and that was part of it. You know, we listened to podcasts and we listened to and we read articles for Patrick Toney, and you know, for his DBs, you know, reading their keys and reading, you know, positions in front of you, reading the quarterback was a big part of that. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Right.
Well, I think the teaching aspect of it came through in that. So it sounds like that translates to players, at least, because some of the YouTube trainings that he gave, it was easy to understand, right? You weren't sitting there going, what's he talking about here? Like, you understood everything he's trying to lay out there. So who do you model yourself after? Like what NFL player or what college player do you look at and say, on film, that person looks like me, or that person does things I want to do, or that person does things better than me and I want to learn how to do that? Like, who do you look at and say, that's the person I'm looking at, that's the film I'm looking at, that's how I want to improve?
Well, ever since high school, I've always like modeled my game after Tyrann Mathieu. Just like I watched him since he was at LSU. You know, like back in high school, I used to like, you know, kick off return, punt return. So I love that. And obviously back in high school, I wanted to play offense, but like I knew that defense was my main, you know, my bread and butter right there. But just Tyrann Mathieu being able to be versatile, you know, for dang sake, a corner goes down, he can go play corner. He can go play free, you weak, in the box, go play dime, nickel. He could do it all, you know. And like that one thing I did like model myself after is just being able to define the ball, be able to be a playmaker, always going for strip attacks, you know, see the ball in there, get the ball in there. You know what I mean? Like, I think that was one thing he strives for and everything. And just, you know, that, you know what his nickname is. You guys know the nickname? You guys know it?
Honey Badger.
Honey Badger, you know?
Hey, you read my next question. I was about to ask you, what was your nickname like that going to be?
Aggressive dude who Honey Badger doesn't care. He's gonna attack you, and he's gonna keep attacking you. He's not gonna let up, and that's one thing I just model myself after.
Yeah, man, we'd love to see that. We'd love to see that out there. So I mean, do you have a moniker, a nickname? Or are you gonna go Honey Badger too?
No.
Somebody's gonna have to give you one, right?
Sounds like the Gators Breakdown listeners have a project here. We got to help.
Yeah, you definitely do. Like nothing like people call me Donnie and my mom hates it. Like, or they'll call me Don now. Like we definitely need something better than that. Like something, you know.
Sounds like we got a poll for the Discord there, dude.
Yeah. We'll break it up to Gators Breakdown Plus listeners first, and then we'll go from there to see what kind of nickname we can get for Donovan McMillon. Donovan, you just said you were in Pennsylvania. What was your history of knowing Florida? Did you follow Florida football? Did you know about Florida's historic defenses and a lot of great defensive back play? Of course, everybody knows Tim Tebow and those Gator teams, but how much did you know about Florida before you had kind of started, looking at Florida to be your college destination?
So through my whole recruiting process, I had 54, Division I scholarships, and that was just such a blessing to me, But the number one thing that I preached, my parents preached, I preached to people who are getting offers and my brothers and everything, and my parents helped me with was that, these coaches are going out of their way to give you a scholarship and they want you to come play in their defense. So the number one thing I did was when I got offers, I did my research and I asked a lot of questions, what defense you want me to play, what the defenses look like, all these things. And so that was one thing I did do. I did my research, I had, obviously Barry Jenkins up in my ear, everything like that, telling me how legendary of a defense they've been, their all their games they used to play versus FSU and how big of a rivalry that was. And just knowing just the small things from whenever they won national championships. And obviously I still have a lot to learn from them, and I get excited to learn new things about, where my school that I am at right now. But when it came to that, definitely it was a lot of research. And obviously I didn't tell you guys this, but my whole dad's side of the family, except my dad, all three of his sisters, all big FSU fans. My whole life I've been an FSU fan. They literally kind of just beat that into my head. I went to the national championship versus Auburn and everything. So that was I was a big FSU fan. So whenever I learned about Florida and everything and just, going through it was kind of crazy. So when I went there and whole family just was just mixed personalities about it, mixed point of views about it. Yeah. So.
We turned one, Will. We turned one.
You made the right choice, man. It's funny because when I was thinking about going to school, it was basically Miami, Florida, or Florida State, and same general thing. Watched Charlie Ward and those sorts of guys back in the early '90s because I'm old, and had to make the switch when Werfel came along. But
yeah.
So, I mean, I guess, obviously you grew up in Pennsylvania, so you don't have a huge history with the school. What's it like now that you're there? I mean, do you feel like Gainesville's home? Is it a place you're going to come back to after you graduate? Do you feel like that's the way sort of the program sits with the culture with Billy Napier? What does it feel like in terms of the culture there and sort of what you feel like, as you progress, hopefully end up in the NFL, do you see and envision yourself coming back to campus and sort of maybe even making a home in Florida when you're done?
Yeah, like you said, Gainesville, the whole Florida area is definitely feels like home. Obviously I'm home right now, we report about a week or so, and I'm already ready to go back. I love my family and everything, but there's just something about being down there that I just love so much. And it's as much as you love football, you gotta love the school, you gotta love the area and everything. And whenever I was down there just visiting for the first time, I did fall in love with the area. And just now, I live there. I feel like I'm a young adult there doing my own thing. And just when it comes to the culture, it definitely is a culture that I think I vibe with and I fit into. So, when it comes down to, after situations like that, I don't know where I'm going to end up being. Obviously, my goal is the NFL and everything like that. And I'll go wherever the money takes me. But, I could definitely see myself ending up being in Florida one day, either, working or being a coach like I want to be. So, yeah.
Donovan, or you could, go to Florida like Will, and he actually ends up in Pennsylvania. So, Will,
I'll buy you a beer next time you're in Philly, man. Well, I guess I can't buy you a beer. I'll buy you a meal next time. Well, I'm not even sure I'm allowed
20
to do
in a
that.
month. 20 in a month. So I'll definitely take the apple juice. So
I don't know what the rules are. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to buy meals anymore.
under the gods of NIL. There we go. So, Donovan, let's go back basically just a few weeks ago, and kind of along the way as well, a Scholar Athlete of the Week. spring awards were handed out, and you got the Doring Like to Practice award at the spring game. What type of notoriety in those awards does that mean to you and just Billy Napier's short tenure? And what are those kind of awards and accolades mean for the team?
What it means for the team, I think whenever it came down to, being I love a practice, that's one thing I think that could, help in winning national championships, just the small things like that. Like if you go out there and you do /love the practice, that means you're excited to do anything it takes to win, And that's one thing. I've always loved practice. I always love going out there and making myself better and learning new things that is going to make my game that much better. But whenever it comes to being the Scholar Athlete of the Week or whatever, that just helped me continue to show I'm excited that I am a football player, but at the same time, I think I'm educated in the way I'm supposed to be and excited to go to school as much, play football, if that makes sense. I definitely take my schooling serious because, we all can't play football forever. So, that's why we got goals to play in the NFL, goals to continue to ball out in college. But that whole education is such a big, important thing when it comes to the end of the day.
Donovan, what do those awards mean for the team, though? This is something new Billy Napier has brought.
Okay, my bad.
No. You answered the question, but to extend it, what do those awards mean to you and to the team? Because that's something new that he's brought to the football team, and we see it on Twitter and we see it on social media that hey, here are your Scholar Athletes of the Week and all those awards, the nutrition award as well. What does that mean to you guys?
It's definitely. Whenever it comes to meaning something, it's kind of weird, but it almost makes it feel like they care, if that makes sense. They care about the whole small things and everything. And it definitely is. It's exciting. You get posts on Twitter, you get posts on Instagram, whatever, being, a nutrition athlete of the week or Scholar Athlete of the Week or all those awards we got at halftime in the spring game. And I think it just helped us get excited for the whole situation, but helped us, thrive to compete and everything. I see you being the academic athlete of the week. I want to be that. So I'm gonna go study more and go get my grades up. Or you be a nutrition. I'm okay, so I'm gonna go talk to nutrition. I'm gonna go know what I need to eat. We know breakfast, lunch, and dinner, whatever snack we need to eat or whatever. And then what times we gotta do protein drinks. It just almost makes it's a competitive atmosphere. Is what we need, because you competing off the field, it helps you compete even more on the field, to win, you know what I mean? So if that answers your question.
Yep, absolutely.
So what are your goals for this season? Do you have a set of, an expectation in terms of number of starts or how much playing time you want to get or what you want to improve on? What are you looking to do this season that you'll say, hey, at the end of the season, this was successful?
I just want to go make plays, whatever it takes to make plays and help the team win. That's I've always, been the team kind of guy. You put me on special teams, I'm gonna go down there and go make a play. If you need me to go block, I'm gonna block. Whatever. It doesn't matter. When it comes to stats, starts, anything like that. As long as I have a role to help the team win. If we're winning a national championship and I'm doing a small little thing, I'm happy with that. It's whatever. Whatever it takes, I no stats in mind. Just want to go make plays and, have fun doing.
So Donovan, how many visits did you get to make? Because I know you mentioned you were a COVID recruit. So did you get to go to many big games before COVID hit where you're on visits where you got to go to big games? If so, and even if you didn't, what was it like, Florida, Alabama? What was it like, those Florida home games last year to rush out to 90,000 and crazy crowds? Because I kind of, looking back, I kind of forget your visit schedule before COVID hit. So I'm not sure how much you actually got to get involved in big game atmosphere crowds you got to see last year when Florida took on Alabama.
Right. So whenever it does come down to that, about a good 30-40% of my offers did come after COVID happened. So that was those were the big ones, like Florida and a lot of the bigger schools came after that. But like when it came down to because I only got recruited my start of my junior season.
Right.
So I went to like Akron, I went to a Penn State game, went to a Purdue game, and like they were fun and all, but like there was nothing like going out the tunnel versus FAU, and like just looking, I was like, wow, like that's a lot of people, and it was FAU, it was FAU, like it was like the swamp and everything. Like I was like, wow, this is like the craziest thing I've ever done in my life. And then just being able to to run down the field the first play of the game versus Alabama, it was just like my mind was just blown. Like I watched Alabama, I watched Georgia, I watched Florida, and all these teams play like ever since I was like 6 years old, and I can't even remember. And it just going down the field and playing a team that I just looked at my whole life as being like, wow. It was definitely one of the craziest surreal moments of my life. And then just continuing to have it happen and just, like it was fun. I felt like confident on the field doing it, but at the same time, I was like sit back and realize like, wow, this is crazy. And that was, the swamp is just nothing to play with, And
I know it was a loss, but I'm telling you, man, that Alabama game was a special atmosphere that day.
that was the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life. I would jump up and down, and it would go like it was like messing with your ears. Like you went to halftime, you're like, wow, my ears are buzzing, but like it was a good buzzing. You're like, wow, I cannot wait to go back out there and go play this team more. So like definitely crazy environment for sure.
So with that being said, week 1, we got Utah coming to the swamp. Obviously, get going this year without it. It's not FAU. It's a big time Power 5 team that's going to be ranked coming into the swamp. Also have Mr. Diabate coming back there week 1 as well. Sort of what's the feeling? You guys gonna how juiced is the team for having him coming back, and then also having a big game to start off that obviously is going to be nationally televised and an opportunity for you guys to sort of prove to everybody that last year was a fluke and that you're going to be better than people expect.
Yeah, it's definitely super, like the adrenaline is already pumping like for that game. Like I know guys are just so pumped up for that. Like we have a big time team coming in ranked, and they I love that they think that they have like this big thing on us, but like we're most likely, if you guys think, we'll probably be an unranked team going into it.
Good question. We've talked about that, but you're right. Florida's going to be on that probably 20th, 25th, maybe not ranked cusp. So here's the thing.
That shows how more excited we are to beat this team. Like we're going in as an underdog against like Utah, and like we're not throwing shade on them, but like. SEC, we're Florida. We're going out there.
It's not supposed to be that way, Donovan.
They're not going to beat us in our home place. Like that. That's one thing. We're working hard every day. Like we have this just look in our eyes that we're just going to go out there and tear up every team we see and start with Utah. So we're excited for that.
Donovan, going to Will's point there, he did bring it up. Mamu Diabate at Utah, Tyron Hopper at Missouri. You're going to be going against guys that you were in the huddle with last year. So kind of talk about the transfer portal and now this kind of new angle to it that, hey, I'm going to be playing guys that I was just in the huddle with a year ago.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy that we are, playing guys that were on our team. And the fact that, there's going to be opportunities where you have to block them or you have to hit them because, we're special teams players.
Yeah. So
that's definitely crazy. But, it's like, transfer portal is crazy now. It's like you're gonna have guys that playing everywhere. So like when it comes down to it, it's like it's all love when it comes down to the guys. Like we have all love, through texts, phone calls, FaceTime. We go see them in person, but when you get on that field and there's we're playing that ball, it's like it's no mercy. So it should be fun playing them first week.
Go ahead, Will. You got one more or anything?
No. We're all excited about it. I mean,
Yeah.
The cupcakes are terrible for fans. We love it when it opens up. I mean, do you prefer sort of easing into the season, or do you prefer having that sort of carrot out there where you got to get ready for week one, and so there's no margin for error, right? Once fall camp kicks off, like you got to be focused and locked in, because otherwise, you're not going to be able to perform the way you want to. So which way do you prefer it? Do you sort of prefer to ease into the schedule, or do you prefer that big week one, national television, everybody talking about it?
So, the easy answer, you would think you'd like to ease into it. How you have like an easier, either FCS school or a small Division I school that you'd like to play. But, there's nothing like having, a big game off the bat. It almost shows you, it's like, okay, what's our season going to be like? We're going to go out there and beat the crap out of this team, and then we're like, wow, okay, then we could play, with this new team or everything. Like, we could play or whatever, because we're just showing what we were what last year wasn't. We're doing what we're supposed to do. So I definitely would pick playing the big dogs at the bat, because it's just the atmosphere. It's going to be crazy. That I know that game is going to be sold out. It's going to be this crazy game. And I don't know, when was the last time we played Utah? That's just crazy that we're playing a team like that. And it should be a challenge and we're accepting it, and we're going to go have fun doing it. So,
Donovan, I think I looked it up. It's either 90 or 91 the last time a Power 5 at a conference school besides Miami or Florida State has played in the Swamp. So that's
right.
It's a big game, and it's been forever since Florida's had a game like that. So, Don, the last few thoughts from you right here. We talked about the transfer portal and how that is different for college football, but so is name, image, and likeness, and everything that comes along with that. And look, I'm glad that you get to join us through here because of the Gator Collective and everything that they've done. So, talk about kind of zoom in on NIL a little bit with the Gator Collective, but also just the whole world of NIL right now.
I think the whole world of NIL is just crazy right now. I think it's definitely well deserved. I'm super excited about the whole NCAA game coming out. That was one thing I played as a kid, so that should be crazy.
Absolutely.
I think just reading into it, I think fans had a problem with the whole, them not getting paid, but now they're starting to have a problem with the whole, the Jordan Addison situation of, he's getting offered $3 million to go play at USC. I don't think there ever is going to be a happy medium of what it's supposed to be. But I really do think, why not let guys be able to go show off their brand and show what kind of person they are, even though it's not even about football. Some guys who might not be able to have that longevity in the NFL, or not even make the NFL, but have the whole media presence or the followers and everything, have the opportunity to go out there and make money off the name of how much they worked hard and everything, and to build this whole brand and everything. So I think it is definitely something that has been great, and what we're going on about a year and a few months of this whole NIL thing. And I'm excited to see where it's gonna go. I have things coming up really soon. I'm super excited about, and that should just makes the game even more fun, because there's guys, the NFL, these guys can go do all these brand sponsors and everything like that, and there's not really much of a difference between the NFL guys and the college guys. We all are going out there, sacrificing our bodies, playing for the fans, trying to win championships. So, why not have them be able to get paid? So I think that's my stance on it all.
So obviously, though, with increased money comes increased criticism and that sort of stuff as well. Most likely, if a fan sees you in public, what do you want them to do and say? Are there times where it's cool if they come up and interrupt you when you're doing stuff and ask for an autograph and that sort of stuff? And then there are times where you just sort of want to be left alone. What fans are going to see you around Gainesville? What would you tell them in terms of how to interact with you guys when you guys are out in public?
And Donovan, on that thought, my good buddy David Soderquist, he saw you at Miller's Ale House after the spring game.
Okay. Yes, I remember him.
Yeah. So I wanted to be sure he interacts with Will and I a whole lot. So I wanted to make sure I threw that shout out there.
Yeah, I'm 110% open to everything. that's one thing that as such a super fan of the sport football, be a college NFL fan my whole life, it was like me going to those games and everything and asking, being the kid who, you know, wanted the signature on the football or the signature on the jersey, even though I knew it wasn't even about, you know, going out there and going selling it or anything. It was just about that was like my dream. Like I always be like, wow, I want to be like one of those guys. So like whenever it comes to fans, like I am 1,000% open to anything. Like I could be on the phone with someone or doing something totally off thing, and like you come up to me and tell me like, you know who I am. Like I think that is one of the coolest things, and I'm going to give you my time of day and do, you know, hang out with you, whatever. So like that's one thing I told my parents everything. I'm always going to be open to that because I'm going to act the exact way as I was whenever I was a kid, but in the opposite. Like I'm gonna be there for the fans and show them, you know, who I am. I'm just this guy that is happy to be a Florida Gator, but at the same time, I'm going to treat you like, you know, like we're the same. Like we are the same. We're everyday people that are, you know, good. Yeah. That's my stance on the whole fan thing. I get excited when fans come to me. It's still crazy to me. So yeah.
Don, let's take that a little bit further right quick. You talk about, you know, being who you are. Well, if people know you and do a little bit of background search on you, you got a passion for fashion out there. So, you know, let us know that side of you a little bit. And I've asked this question to Lorenzo Lingard last week, and I asked it to recruits who commit to Florida and all that. Billy Napier's going to come up to you, and he's going to let you pick the uniform that Florida wears that week. What uniform combo you going with? Is it the orange helmet, blue helmet, white helmet, any of the jersey combos that you can think of as well? So let us know about your fashion sense and then also the uniform pick for you.
Well, I don't know if you know about it. I have a YouTube channel, which is coming back a lot stronger really soon. You know, I've been busy with a lot, you know, school and everything. But, like, my YouTube channel, like, ever since I've maybe 4th, 5th grade, I used to post like sneaker collection videos, fashion videos, and anything like that. So like my whole life, my mom has always taught me, like, you know, you're gonna with whatever you got, you might go have like $5-10 shoes. You're gonna make it look nice. You're gonna clean them off every day, you know. So like I've always been about, you know, going out there and make myself look so presentable, but at the same time, you know, have a little style and fashion to it. But when it comes to the football thing, I think that is one of the toughest questions that you've asked today. Like I liked it all. Like whenever it came to the USF all white, that was amazing. But at the same time, you know, I like the all orange. I like the orange on blue combo, and wow, and then you like the basics. You know, you like. So I really do like them all when it comes to it. But if I had to pick one, orange helmets, orange jersey, and blue pants. Ooh, orange pants. One of those. I just love the orange. The orange looks amazing. The orange jerseys are amazing. So
I've heard that a lot. The players really do like the orange jerseys. So that's different to hear there. I thought
we got the black ones coming. So I'm interested to see how people like that when those show up.
Yeah, well, I'm excited about those ones too.
There we go. Sure. So Donovan, when Florida does break out the black jerseys, Billy Napier has already said it'll be 2023. So not this coming season, but it will be next season. Do you want it like a completely new design, or do you want it kind of like the traditional uniform but just make it black?
No, I don't know. I think original is nice, but some of them just crazy. You know, like we wearing something crazy. I think we're doing completely crazy on the field too. So like. I don't know. It depends on how crazy we're thinking, you know, because like I've seen the uniforms that we wore, like the gator skin ones. I didn't, you know, I have mixed feelings about those ones. But
you can say they were ugly.
This is the fan base.
They're a little interesting, you know. They're interesting, but no, anything all black is going to look nice. But the ones that they're showing, like whoever made the photo of what they look like now, like I would love to see those. Like, you know.
Yeah. So, by the way, the correct answer for the uniform is the throwback. It's.
I forgot about the throwbacks. Yes, of course, I love the throwbacks as well. So, yeah.
Oh man! So, hey, just out of curiosity, is there something that Anthony Richardson's going to do this year that you think is going to surprise us? We obviously saw the explosive plays last year and that sort of stuff. You're seeing him from the defensive side of the ball. What's something that you think is going to surprise fans? I mean, there are people who are mocking him in the top 10 of the draft next year and that sort of stuff. Is there anything he's going to do that surprises us, or is he just really everything we think he's going to be in terms of a quarterback?
He's definitely one of the craziest athletes I've ever seen in my life. So that's you guys know that. When it comes to surprising, I don't think he's a surprise to anyone. I think just showing what he did in the games that he played in, like he was the superior player on the field. I think when it comes down to it, he's such a leader. When it comes down to our offense and everything, and just knowing what he's supposed to do, and using his playmaking and athleticism abilities, that I think some crazy things are going to happen this year. I think he has an opportunity to go out there and lead us to a championship and lead himself to, big awards postseason. I think he's going to do what you guys all think he's supposed to do. So I'm excited about that.
That's what we want to hear, because we got some high expectations on for him and the team. So there we go. That's what we want to hear. Will, anything else, man?
I guess, one thing. So Ty Grantham gets an awful lot of flack, and I'm curious, can you tell us something positive about him that maybe we wouldn't know? You were recruited by him, you come in, a lot of times we talk about the previous staff. Obviously everybody gets a lot of criticism, but what's a positive thing about Grantham? Maybe be a little bit positive on that side.
And Donovan, maybe even extend that the whole staff in general. It does seem like a big, a fest of just negativity for the last staff. But as Will said, for Grantham, and extend that to some of the other staff as well.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate that the staff does get criticized as much as it's supposed to, but at the same time, like, we were a 6-7 football team, and that's like that's something that Florida isn't. I would expect that if it was another team that is not very good, but we weren't a good football team last year. We had a potential to be an amazing team, but we did things that weren't supposed to happen. But when it comes to coaches like Coach Grantham and Coach Mullen, like I can't thank them enough for getting me to this point. Getting me to the University of Florida, and I really didn't see problems with them. Obviously there's going to be changes after 6-7 season. I liked what Grantham wanted to do. His complexity of his defense, it could have been taught a little better, but he knew what he wanted. He knew that there were certain things that we had to do to win football games, and I don't think that just ended up happening. But whenever it comes to those guys, I have all love for them, and I whatever they end up doing or everything, like, we're gonna stay in communication. We're gonna stay like this, I do truly like those guys, and it doesn't upset me. It just disappoints me that a lot of people don't know what they were personally to other players on our team, players who are in the NFL, or just players that in general that they coach and are in their careers and what they've taught us. And overall, they were good people, and they were good coaches as well. So when it comes down to it, it's all love to those guys, and hopefully that's the positivity you needed to hear, from a player about those coaches. So
good stuff. Will, you good?
I just Steelers. Is that who you want to be drafted by?
No.
No.
No. I like I said earlier, I will go wherever the money takes me. I think the Steelers. It's a little cold. It's cold up here. I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now. People are all in like tank tops right now. They're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm freezing." Like, I would obviously love to play in the South. I'd love to play anywhere that takes me. Steelers would be amazing if I can have anyone come. But
was that your team growing up? Was it the Steelers, or did you like somebody else?
More my family's team. My dad and I have always been player fans. Like, we're Tom Brady fans. Like, we've got a player on like almost every team that we get super excited to watch play. So player fans. Never been. You're a team fan, and then you just get angry. I played fantasy football like twice, and I was like, I cannot do this. It makes you root more for certain things than you want to. I just like enjoying a good football game.
There we go. That's how I started out too. My favorite player was John Elway for the Broncos. So I just, I followed him until he retired, and then I just kind of enjoyed the game of NFL. But Gators, of course, it was just always die hard for the Gators. So college was different. College was different.
I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, so me and Katie Turner are sad all the time. Stupid 13 seconds.
Donovan, man, I can't thank you enough for joining us right here on Gators Breakdown, man. Wonderful job that you did here. If you got a message out there for Gator Nation, man, you're more than welcome to share it right here of just what it kind of means to be a Gator.
Well, first off, I just want to thank you so much for this opportunity. Just being able to get on here and just talk to you guys is just obviously amazing. But when it comes to Gator Nation, I think you guys should just be, stay patient. Stay patient, get excited, and get ready. In September, you're going to see something that you guys have been hoping for. So that's what I got to say. Patience.
Awesome. Thanks, Donovan. And Gator safety Donovan McMillon joining us right here on Gators Breakdown. That'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. Thanks to Donovan McMillon one more time for joining us, for giving all his insight into the football program. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out here on Gators Breakdown. Guys and girls out there, thank you for listening to this episode of Gators Breakdown.